And so my promise is that reform will not just think differently, but reform will do differently. We will sweep away these outdated conventions. We will become the most pro-business, pro-entrepreneurship government that has been seen in this country in modern times. We'll bring into government, as advisors or ministers, people with real business expertise in their own sector. And we will signal what we hope and believe and what we know we need to be a change of attitude in this country. A change of attitude towards hard work. A change of attitude towards making money. A change of attitude towards success. And I would like to think this would begin in our schools, that we'd have more national champions, that we'd take people who'd come from nothing and become successes and make them heroes, make them role models for younger people to follow. Because believe me, that is very, very badly needed indeed. And perhaps it's appropriate that this speech is being given in this magnificent old banking hall right here in the heart of the city of London. Now, it's a place that I know incredibly well, having spent much of my working life here, and generations of my family before me that worked here. It is a very special place because it symbolizes what is still, despite everything, Britain's biggest industry. We never talk about it. Parliament rarely debates it. Financial services are Britain's biggest industry. But what sad decline we are currently in. We have an EU rule book that is almost entirely in place. And that is interpreted by massively overzealous regulation. The costs of doing business in London, the costs of doing business in our financial services industry are now simply too high. And we're losing business to places all over the world, New York, the Far East, you name it. There is, of course, one booming sector here, though. That is HR and compliance. And Richard Tice and I were talking about this earlier. The FCA now incredibly have 5,000 staff. It was 2,000 staff when I left the city just over 20 years ago. And still we carry on with our outdated practices. We still have stamp duty on share transactions and wonder why IPOs and stock trading in London is in such serious state. We have an FCA keen now to push a diversity agenda, as if diversity in the city is what matters. Well, when I worked here, it didn't matter what religion you were. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what class you were. It didn't matter what color you were. When I worked in the city, it was based on, are you good enough? It was based on being a meritocracy. And that coincided, I think, with London being at the most dominant position in financial services that it's been certainly in modern times. And then we have the banking industry. Not necessarily always been my favorites over the course of the last few years. But they, of course, are forced to implement 4 major European Union money laundering directives. All, of course, put in place with the very, very best of intentions, but that has led to the debanking of hundreds of thousands of individuals and tens of thousands of businesses across this country through no fault of their own, at the same time as the Turkish barbershops proliferate along with the cash car washes right across our country. Our regulators are using sledgehammers to miss the nut. It's just not working. And with the banks not able to act as they should, it's led to the growth of secondary lending, that market exploding, and something which I predict will come back to bite us very, very hard, as it did decades ago. And we've totally ignored the whole new world out there. Folks, it's happening. We're being left behind. There's a global boom in the trade in digital assets, in the use of stable coins, in the usage and investment in all forms of cryptocurrency. We've literally turned our backs on it, both the Bank of England and the FCA being guilty of this. The reason the city succeeded for hundreds of years is that it innovated, it took risk, it saw what the future direction of markets and consumer and customer and commercial demand would be. And we have done absolutely none of it. And frankly, I believe it's a disaster. We should be leading the world in these 21st century businesses. So our aim would be to sensibly deregulate a rule book that was written for the European Union, not written for the City of London, to think globally and to have a much more open debate with the Bank of England. It seems that Parliament thinks, oh, the Bank of England have got independence. Well, they've got independence over monetary policy. They don't have independence over fiscal policy. And it was Richard Tice that pointed out 18 months ago the vast sums of money unnecessarily being paid in interest to banks. And now we've moved to quantitative tightening. Well, they're on course to lock in losses of £150 billion. This has a major fiscal impact on this country. I haven't heard Rachel Reeves talk about it once, which, given she was 10 years a very senior economist over there, I must say I find very, very surprising, and a total rethink of what the FCA is. Markets need sensible regulation that users can trust, and you know something? They don't need a whole lot more than that. And don't forget, when I talk about the city, I'm not just talking about here and Canary Wharf. I'm not just talking about Mayfair. I'm not just talking about a few very high earners. I'm talking about an industry that employs hundreds and thousands of people in every major town and every major city in this country. That is how fundamentally important it is. The whole economy must encourage innovation. We must encourage ambition, and yes, dare I say it, risk-taking. Free markets work because people take risks. And if it goes wrong, it's not the job of governments to bail them out. It's the job of their shareholders and their bondholders to lose all of their stake. And we need so much more than that. But to be that kind of economy, we have to have the right people in our country. That breed of people that will take astonishing risk. That breed of people who'll give up their lives dedicated to a particular project that they wish to succeed. And the numbers on that aren't looking very good. The exodus is real. An estimated 16,500 very rich people will leave this country this year. But a total of about 80,000 people will leave this year seeking jobs, seeking work, seeking opportunity elsewhere around the world. And yes, many of our brightest, youngest, most ambitious people have simply had enough. We're living through a wealth drain, but we're also living again through a late 1970s style brain drain. And we intend to reverse all of that.